Welcome back inside another edition of the Raiders Training Camp Podcast presented by SiriusXM. I'm Vince Sapienza coming to you from Raiders HQ, and it is time to talk about that Raiders mock game at Allegiant Stadium on Saturday. The numbers I'm hearing, 18,000 members of Raider Nation were loud, proud, and strong inside Allegiant Stadium watching what turned out to be an elevated version of practice, but a simulated version of what we can expect to see in this preseason and, to a higher degree, the regular season as well. Now, the biggest takeaway when you look at whether you were there or you were seeing the reports or seeing the highlights online was the offense, and specifically Geno Smith and the marriage with him and Chip Kelly. I mean, the weaponry, the arsenal of talent was on full display for the offense. 4 drives for Geno Smith and the first-team offense, 4 touchdowns. Now, we can get into the back and forth whether or not, the defense got some sacks or they didn't. They let the play go on when whatever it may be. The offense looked really good. Geno Smith in particular showed his skills. He sprayed it all over the field. Short, intermediate, and even the long ball from time to time. He was throwing frozen ropes on the line, back shoulders to Brock Bowers, who scored a pair of touchdowns. The red zone offense was efficient. Geno Smith showed off his legs as well. And when you talk about, what is the potential of this team, the hope for Raider Nation is that what we saw on Saturday is just a microcosm, a small taste, an appetizer, if you will, to what we're going to see in the regular season. I mean, on the first drive alone, Geno Smith threw it to 6 different targets, completed to 5 different guys. Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, throwing a couple passes to Dante Thornton Jr. So when you talk about how special can this offense be, it really feels like the sky's the limit with Chip Kelly in command and Geno Smith at quarterback and the weapons that you have. Jack Besh was working with the second-team offense. Aiden O'Connell had his moments, but Pete Carroll definitely made sure to single out Besh, his work overall. Dante Thornton Jr., who caught a touchdown as well. But Ashton Jeanty looks as advertised. Now, again, in this exercise of the mock game, the simulated scrimmage, whatever you want to call it, there wasn't any tackling to the ground. They were keeping him up for the most part, but Ashton Jeanty looks like he's going to be able to run the ball pretty well. Now, his claim to fame is going to be bouncing off those would-be tacklers and elongating plays when they shouldn't be, but his ability in the pass game was also evident, was also intentional. They were making him a part of the pass attack as he had a couple big gains on catches out of the backfield. So when you look at what's the biggest takeaway from the Raiders mock game on Saturday at Allegiant Stadium? To me, it was the offense. It was Chip Kelly. It was Geno Smith giving us a taste of what we can expect in the regular season. And on the defensive side, we saw a lot of good things as well. Elandon Roberts, again, this was not an exercise where you're taking guys down to the ground, where you're tackling full bore, but he laid the lumber. His ability to lay big hits is going to be something that is going to create a roar within Raider Nation on a weekly basis. He's done it his entire career. Now he brings it over to Las Vegas. Excited to see what that looks like as well. But going back to the offense and staying there for just another minute, the big battle in training camp so far has been along the offensive line. And Jordan Meredith kind of ascending to that top number 1 center on this team. And we saw a rotation between Jackson Powers-Johnson and Alex Kappa at right guard. So that is a competition that is obviously continuing. And, while everyone's like, what's going on with Jackson Powers-Johnson? I think this is more attributed to how talented this offensive line may very well be. When you talk about the competition Pete Carroll is trying to cultivate, what better way to do it than with one of your young leaders on that offensive line and a veteran and a guy that many didn't expect to maybe be the top center for this team in Jordan Meredith. So there's a nice battle going around. I thought all 3 of themselves showed well during that mock game. But again, tough to really tell until the bullets are flying and we're in the preseason and you're going against a different jersey where tackling is real and you got to take them down to the ground and you got to fight through the whistle until the play is dead. But overall, a fairly successful mock game for the Raiders. Lonnie Johnson Jr. did leave with an injury. No official word from the team on on what that looks like, but obviously very serious and something that looks like it will be a long-term type of situation, but we'll wait to get more clarity on that. But when you look back at what the Raiders have accomplished at that point to 9 on-field practices in training camp. Pete Carroll talked about, you have no idea how much we accomplished in this single afternoon at Allegiant Stadium, 2 hours worth of practice in this mock game, understanding the ebbs and flows of pregame, of warm-up, of being in that environment at Allegiant Stadium. So it fared itself well for the players, for the coaching staff who now have a ton of tape to cut up, to look at, to dive, and to really grade, rate, rank as roster cuts now are another day closer, right? Finding that 53 and finding that roster that will be the Raiders 2025 regular season, at least to start week 1 in Foxborough. Every piece of information helps. And as it is game week now, we are looking forward to that first preseason opener in Seattle on August 7th. It's going to be another opportunity where there's going to be plenty of cut-ups, plenty of reps. There may or may not be injuries. There may or not be opportunities for other players to step up in different roles. So what that looks like remains to be seen. But the work continues here at Raiders HQ. And as we get set to welcome in another Raiders rookie here inside the Raiders Training Camp podcast, we continue to get excited for the competition and everything we saw at Allegiant Stadium continuing into the preseason opener, into the preseason game at Allegiant Stadium, and as we get set for the regular season. Joining us now here on the Raiders Training Camp podcast, presented by SiriusXM, is Raiders rookie offensive lineman Caleb Rogers. Welcome in. His first time in the studio. I guess what a whirlwind of a year this must have been. We've been talking about how no days off, right? What has the transition been like from your final year in college into the NFL and as we are in the midst of training camp?
It's been a fun, exciting transition. I feel like it's been pretty seamless in the procedure sense. Something that we talk about a lot at Texas Tech is being a pro. We preach about being a pro, how to be a pro. And so coming into this next step, also being around so many great people who have the blueprint. You've got the training room, you've got the equipment staff, you've got the weight room who are all trying to give you all the tools, and then you've got someone as great as Max Crosby who's doing it every single day. And so you don't have to stick right by his hip and do exactly what he's doing because you need to figure out what works for you, but you've got the blueprint laid out here for you so you can fit yourself into it and figure it out. And so in the sense of how to get the job done, it hasn't been too bad. I'm excited to continue to develop as a player and to evolve as a player in that sense in different aspects. But in the sense of getting the job done and how to do it, it's handled very well here. It's awesome.
We're going to take a deep dive into what's been going on at training camp, but not only are you adjusting to life in the NFL, you're adjusting to life here in Las Vegas. Yeah. What has that transition been like? You're a girl dad, you have family. What has been that whirlwind?
It's very interesting. It's having them out here is awesome. Being able to bring my daughter out to practice and have her help me take off my tape is an awesome experience. P is very welcoming when it comes to just being family oriented and having the family involved, and so that's extremely appreciated on my part. And I love it. I love every single part of it. I'm excited. I feel like every single day or every single week we've got a new first. We had the mock game this last weekend, so their first time in the stadium, their first time kind of getting into the routine, my first time doing that. And soon we'll be going to Seattle this week. I'll be coming home at 3 a.m. and then I'll be waking up the next day. I'll have to go to being the dad and then go to work. And so just figuring it out, getting adjusted, it's awesome. I really appreciate the culture around here because they're extremely appreciative of who we are, being who we are. Yes, we're football players, and there is a blueprint, and there's something that we all need to get done. There's a job we all have to do, but they want us to do it how we need to do it, how Caleb Rogers needs to get it done in order to be successful. So it's awesome.
What was their experience like at Allegiant?
They loved it. See, they didn't do the field passes this week, so she was a little frustrated that she didn't get to go on the field.
Come on, Dad.
What are we doing? That one's on me. But they really enjoyed doing it. Chloe's very much so on making Callie walk right now because you're gonna get used to this. It's gonna be big stadiums, a lot of walking. We're gonna have them go to 1 or 2 away games this year too. So it'll be, like I said, a lot of firsts this year. It'll be awesome.
All right, you did get a lot of field access at that mock game on Saturday. How do you take something like that in? It's training camp. It is a practice, but a mock game. But you're in this new environment. You know, Pete's keeping you on your toes with the competition, the energy level. What was that experience? Describe it for us and how you think you handled it.
So going into a new environment, you know, something like that where it's not exactly the game, but it's a mock-up of it. You know, it's meant to simulate it. It can kind of emphasize the fact that don't make too much of where you are. And we kind of got the biggest example we'll ever get of that in 2020 with COVID. Pulling the fans out of the stadium, how differently of a player are you going to be if there's no one watching? And so it's really interesting how I've been able to just continue to carry that throughout my career. Every time I'm in a new stadium, every time I'm in a new environment, am I going to let that change who I am? Am I going to let that change my routine, change the mentality that I have, change the type of player I am? But that's where we got to be consistent. And so that's just something we talk about a lot. And I personally talk about a lot. It's just being consistent, being the same person every single day. So stick to the routine. Again, I'm trying to figure out that routine of what it's looking like, and having the support that we have. The strength staff is incredible. The nutrition staff is incredible. The way they're willing to talk to you, help you build that plan, willing to give you the tool, but also let you know that don't be afraid to tweak your tool. We're meant to adapt and change as players as we continue to figure this out. So, yes, you're going to change in different environments, but that's based on what you need. But you don't have to change on different environments because of where you're standing.
We've had 10 on-field practice days thus far. How much change have you experienced from that first day? Again, I know last week or so has been with pads, so it's a little different, especially for you big guys. But how big of a change has that been from day one on the field to day 10?
So sticking to the same thing I was just talking about, and you talking about like change, tying those two things in together, is I'm transitioning from tackle to guard,
right?
Coming from college to the NFL. And also I'm playing center.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that.
Yeah. So same thing. I've got to keep my same mentality of every single day of being or doing the same work every single day. Instead of talking about being, like I could be so worried about being with the ones right now or being with the twos, like when they're moving me around. But instead I'm trying to focus on doing the work to be the number one center, doing the work to be the number one guard. Wherever they need me, whoever they need me to be, I'm working on doing that instead of focusing on being it for them. And that way, I don't have to, I'm ready. I know, I know when I'm ready. No, I'm going to do the work to be ready continuously so that way I'll never change. And so flipping back and forth, moving inside, moving right to left, like same thing in that stadium. I was playing right and left guard every other series. I love it. I mean, just
you asked for it.
Yes.
One of your first availabilities with the media, you told us you said, "Hey, I'm asking to play all 5 positions. I want to know all 5 positions, and I want to perfect my craft at all 5 of them." Well, you're getting what you want right now,
and I really appreciate that from them. They're extremely hard on me, and they push me, and I think they have high expectations for me, and I mean that's a privilege. So I'm trying to continue to keep that consistency and take a step forward every single day. That's something that Pete talks about. It's just taking one step forward. And so offensive line is a rare position. You might get a certain blocking combination once a practice, and you might not see it again until a different practice. And especially with me playing both sides, I might get it on the left of this practice. I might not get it on the right until a week later. So we have to be extremely intentional about the way that we're working and the way that, especially myself, switching back and forth on like the steps I'm taking and being intentional when the opportunity arises to work on something. And so it's awesome. I love it because it's allowing me to understand so much more about the people I'm working around. If I'm playing left guard and we work a technique, and then the next time I run center, we work that same technique, I'm like, oh, at left guard, I could do that more for my center. And the same thing, when I'm at left guard, I can be, oh, I could do that more for my center. So it just allows me to understand the game at a higher level, allows me to understand the positions at a higher level, and it's awesome.
You know, there's a lot of energy, excitement. Those are kind of the 2 buzzwords that have been going on around this organization all off season long. One of the big reasons why is this 2025 rookie class that you are obviously a part of. Last week we had Dante Thornton Jr. in talking about, rising to those expectations, if you will, and coming together as a rookie class, both the drafted and undrafted. And he singled you out as a guy that every day, if somebody needs a pick-me-up, especially for him, you're that guy. Where does that come from? Like, it's probably easy to be wide-eyed, right, in a situation like this. But he pointed to you as one of those guys that helps keep him grounded and also helps rise up his game. So I don't know if you've heard that before or how many guys you're doing that for, but where does that come from and how did that all begin for you?
I mean, honestly, where does it come from? I think I'd have to say that I think it's just like a gift that I've been given from God. I think I have an extreme ability to be able to read people's emotions, be intentional with them in the conversations that I have, and make people comfortable when I talk to them. And so at the same time, there's days when I know I can just see it in Dante's eyes, whether he's got it or he doesn't, and that comes from being human. Yeah. I mean, we all have something in our life that's existing, and like I said, it's about doing our job, but we are all still being human. So doing your job can get really hard sometimes. So us all being together is extremely important. And I sent a text to the guys the other day saying that I've tried to be good friends to everybody, but I want to be a better man of God towards everybody. Mm-hmm. And just being able to allow people to lean on each other because through faith, it just allows everyone to lean on each other, be more vulnerable, and be more comfortable around each other, knowing that it's out of a place of just pure I don't know the word I'm looking for, but I mean, just trying to be there for somebody. Right. It's hard. This is something we're all going through. Yes, being extremely present. And so when I'm in that locker room, I have a speaker. I'll cut on some music, play some old school stuff, and just try to ask some people some stuff about how they're doing conversations because, I mean, we're working from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., and we all love it. But we also all have our own stuff going on. So it's okay for us to be able to talk and communicate and be the people that we are.
I want to get into that music mix next time we talk. But before we let you go, last one, it's game week, right? Or you're getting ready for your first NFL game, preseason or not. You're going to get a lot of reps. Pete Carroll's talked about, this is going to be a big opportunity on the road in Seattle. I guess, in short, how excited are you for this opportunity?
Man, I mean, I sent a text to my guys the other day back home, but my NFL season starts now. I mean, my NFL season started, you could say, when fall camp started, but it's a much different turnaround. I mean, in college, you've got 4 weeks, and then you've got a week leading up to the mock game, and then you've got game week. Mm-hmm. We've got a week of camp, we've got the mock game, and then it's game week. And so it's awesome. I mean, we're here. It's happening quick. I mean, there's nothing better than football, and there's no better way to prepare yourself for football than to play football. And so I'm excited. I'm ready to get on the road with all these guys. Like Dante said, I said we're all super close. And so I'm excited to just do this with us as a group and just continue to be in our present, continue to be around each other, take advantage of the opportunities that I have, whether I'm at left guard, whether I'm at right guard, whether I'm at center. How intentional can I be? Can I get that snap back there the way I'm supposed to? Can I be on my landmarks the way I'm supposed to? Can I pass the twist over so my so my center doesn't get picked? And so, I mean, just being able to be a part of this with this group, I mean, it's incredible. Like I said, the culture is incredible. There's no ego in this building. It's awesome to be a part of, top to bottom, head coach to janitor. My man Hugo, shout out to him. It's incredible, and I'm just so happy to be here.
Well, I think I can speak for all of Raider Nation. They're happy to have you as well. Caleb Rogers, Raiders rookie offensive lineman. Caleb, we look forward to seeing you out on the field in Seattle. We'll do this again soon.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Thanks for joining the Raiders Training Camp podcast presented by SiriusXM. Don't forget to check out the Raiders Training Camp podcast presented by SiriusXM on all your platforms that you can find podcasts, Raiders YouTube, and Raiders.com.